Thanks for joining me on Rewire with me, Car Therapy. So this episode we'll be talking about, we already did part 1 and 2. First part was what symptoms did I have, what happened to me. What? Check it out. What's up, Chloe? What's going on? Say hi. No. There's nobody there. It's just you. All right. So, I did two parts already. First part was what happened to me. Second part was why did it happen to me? And this part will be how did I recover? Pretty much to the point, I'll tell you what therapies I took online. So, in the beginning, I was lost for a couple of months. I was in a rabbit hole of what was wrong with me. I joined like probably 60, 70, maybe 100 even, of all these groups on Facebook. And they had all their own protocols. You name it, I was in that group. Chloe, drinking water. She always makes the most amazing noises. You good? But I mean, are you like good? Yeah, you're chilling. All right, cool. So in the beginning, what happened, I was in my perfect storm. I got out of surgery. I was in the middle of a perfect storm. I was able to eat. One day I was able to eat foods like normal. And I was just recovering like, anybody else that comes out of surgery. And the next day, with like a light switch, 95% of all my foods that I would normally be able to eat, I couldn't eat anymore. I was allergic. It seemed like I was allergic to hundreds of foods, just like that. And I was reacting to smells, chemicals, and I was just reacting to anything and everything. A lot of things that didn't make sense. And I'll keep that for a separate video. And some of these symptoms I didn't even bother telling the doctors because I knew they already thought I was crazy as it was, because I was going to see the doctors probably 3 times a week and they kept telling me I was fine, and I kept feeling like I was dying every day. Really, I felt every minute that there was something wrong with me, that was it. Every second was like, I better go say goodbye to everybody. I better say, I was holding on, and I was coming to terms with death. I thought I was just, within a couple of days, it's going to happen. So I kind of, let go of it. I kind of surrendered. And then, so I thought, well, while I'm waiting to die or whatever, I might as well just simmer and accept my fate. And this is my fate. If I don't die right away, I'll suffer. Okay. So I was like, that's my reality. So then I was joining these Facebook groups, and I got stuck into different realities on the internet. I was talking with people that were dealing with things for over 14, 20 years, things that I was dealing with. And it took me about a year and a couple months to recover, just because of the mindset and my beliefs. Your beliefs are what are everything. Your beliefs can make you get stuck. They can keep you ill. They can keep you chronic. They are everything. And I noticed that, I was a person for 10 years that did nothing but research. And I thought I knew everything. I thought all the problems that I had were to do with my gut, my leaky gut, my microbiome, that my gut was this, my second brain. And then everything after, all the problems that I had to come from there. So I had to concentrate on healing my gut. And I had to detox. And I had to follow all these protocols. I needed more supplements. I needed magnesium protocol. I needed more iron. I needed more, you name it. I was probably down that rabbit hole. All the different diets that I tried, and they all, except for one, most of the diets that I tried made things worse, except for the carnivore diet. But the carnivore diet was just a coping mechanism. It wasn't actually the cure. It's like if you have to take anything and you feel better, but as soon as you're off it, you go back to feeling like shit. That tells you it's not, that's not the reason. That's not your cure. It's just a Band-Aid. Just like fasting is, I think, also a coping mechanism. Sure, it makes you feel better, but what's the real reason why you feel better when you fast? Well, in both the scenarios, it's because it's taken a load off the body. So it's minusing digestion, because it's one less thing your body has to think about. It can finally catch up on the other things that hasn't been working on, because it's been on a high elevated stress response. It's been in an elevated fight or flight state for a long time. And the brain hardwired it there to stay there. So when you're in that state, all the systems in your body, blood pressure, detoxing your heart, everything, digestion, huge, like everything's huge, is overlooked. It's going, okay guys, just for now, take the back seat. We'll come to you later after I take care of this tiger attack. We're being chased by this tiger, and I got to make sure we're alive first, so that we can have problems with digestion, so that we can worry about our blood pressure, so we can worry about detoxing. Detoxing can wait till after. Imagine if the brain said, you know what? No. Let's wait. Tiger, just wait a second. Let's digest this fat burrito with extra cheese first. It had jalapenos in it, just so you know. Love jalapenos. Let's digest this first, and then we'll come back and figure this death thing out. If the brain did that, what would happen is the tiger would eat you, and you would never have a burrito again to worry about. Okay, maybe that'd be a good thing. But I want to worry about burritos in the future, right? I want to have smelly burrito farts in the future, right? So that's what the brain does, is it puts things into priority, and its priority is to keep you alive, and everything else takes a back seat and asks questions later, which is brilliant. It's doing its job, right? So that was my world. I was having all these symptoms. I listed them in my other video. I'm just going to roughly go over some of the, paint the picture of what was happening. So I was lost, and of course I joined these groups, and I went into all these rabbit holes. And the reality in these rabbit holes are so real. No wonder why some of these people stay there for 14 years and get stuck. And of course, the science is there to back it up. Well, I had a test, and I did a test, and they found that this bacteria and that bacteria. See, what I think is happening with a lot of these things, these groups, is people are chasing symptoms. Even the professionals, they chase the symptoms and they say that's the culprit. We did a test and we noticed that your microbiome is out of balance. So that must be the reason why you have leaky gut and you have all these symptoms. When actually what's happening is that your limbic system is elevated. It's not the systems, all the systems in your body aren't regulating properly, which affects the biome. And when people look at the biome and they test it, they go, wow, we have noticed that the biome is out of whack and you're missing lots of bacteria. So that's the problem. When actually it isn't the problem. When it is back to your limbic system, your brain. Your brain is the most important thing. It regulates everything. It regulates your gut, which also regulates your microbiome, which gets out of whack, your enzymes, all that stuff, and all the other symptoms you can think of from A to Z that are in your body. It all starts with your brain. And when you regulate this guy, everything gets back to rest and digest. Everything regulates again, and it works the way it's supposed to work. So you name it, 9 times out of 9.5, it has to do with your brain and your nervous system. So you just gotta recalibrate it. And I remember when I was in these different realities, they had people, and I remember when I was in these different realities and these different groups, they showed the tests. They showed the YouTube videos with these scientists and these doctors, these lab coats showing you the numbers, and they'd have all these presentations, and they have like a panel of doctors, and in that, when you see that, it's ingrained in your brain that this must be true. What this guy's saying of histamine intolerance, mast cell activation syndrome. I have mast cell activation syndrome because he tested all the tests and they've confirmed I have mast cell activation syndrome. And I have a label now. So my research is done. I found it, and this is my label, and I can never recover again. And this I have to cope with for the rest of my life. I might as well go on disability, and I might as well start taking whatever drugs that they don't have on the market yet even. Yeah, I was going through that. I was like, well, they don't have the drugs on the market to help you, sorry. But what they do have is antihistamines that'll help you cope. And try this probiotic. And I heard a friend that did this. Join this group. It's a probiotic group of vitamin yada yada. And if you take that, you'll be able to eat like normal again. Will it go away? No, it won't go away. Because you're lacking this DAO enzyme. Because your microbiome is not working properly. And you need to work on your gut. You need to detox. You need to take CBD oil. You need to take this probiotic. You need to take this tick, 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 tick. The more I tick, 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 the more I took, the more I got sick. My naturopath, he did more harm than anything good, but he meant well, you know, he thought he was helping me. And they always said, yeah, all my clients, they do better. A lot of people recover. Oh yeah, because I always ask them, like, have you helped people recover? Yep, all the time. And they mean well, right? Same with doctors, they mean well. They think they're doing the best they can for you. Same with, people who have anxiety. The doctors are giving, prescription drugs because they mean well and they want to help you. But there's other ways. Instead of coping, you want to recover, and you can recover. And when you're in the thick of it and you got the label on you, you don't believe it's possible. You don't see the clearing. You don't see the clarity. It's like when you're in these groups and they were like, yeah, but Helma, it doesn't make sense. The tests say, yeah, but the symptoms say, can you tell me why this symptom is there? It's almost like we go to a burning building and we got these annoying alarms ringing. So these alarms, we're going to have to smash them all because we want to stop the ringing. Yeah, I can't stand these alarms ringing. That's the reason why I'm sick, is because these alarms are just keep ringing. So what do we got to do? We got to smash them, okay? And what will that do? It'll stop the ringing. You're right. So they take these alarms. This is just an example. They take these alarms, they take them off the ceiling, and they start smashing them with a hammer. And what happens? The alarms stop. It's true, it works. They smash all these alarms. Sure, they stop ringing, but guess what? There's still a fire. Why, instead of smashing the alarms, don't they turn off the fire? But a helmet, it's not the fire. Why is it every time there is a fire, the alarms ring? We should smash the alarms. Where every time we go to a building there's a fire, we got these alarms, we got to smash them. They're ringing. We want them to stop ringing. Why is it when we smash them, they stop ringing? Why is that? You're right. And we got tests to prove it. Look at that alarm. Okay, we smashed it. Do you hear ringing? No, I don't. No, there you go. There's your reality. Okay, well, you're right about that. But I guarantee you, it's not that. That's just a symptom. You're looking at the wrong thing. Now, if you put your head over here, see that burning fire? You see, now, if you were to put your focus over here and you see that building with all those flames and it's burning, maybe turn that off. No, that doesn't stop the alarms. Try it, because I think the alarms are ringing because the fire's on. And then you don't have to smash these alarms anymore to stop them ringing. I bet you if you turn the fire off with water and you fight that fire, you can leave the alarms be and they'll turn off by themselves one by one, just like our limbic system does with the alarms. Here, I'll give you another example. This is one that I made up. Well, I made that one up too. My examples aren't the best, but I'm sure other people can come up with better examples. My point I'm trying to make is people are chasing symptoms and they see a symptom, they make tests on the symptom and they go, well, that's the reason why it is. They don't go to the source that causes the symptom to be, right? They should be looking for the root. So for example, let's say you got this little car, this 3-cylinder engine, and it's got 5 people in it. It's a little car. It seats 4, but you got 5 people in it. And it's got a trailer hitch, and it's pulling this massive trailer. Let's say it weighs kajillion pounds, a kajillion pounds. Maybe that's hard to scale. How about it's as big as, let me do another comparison. Okay, so it has this trailer hitch, right? And it's pulling this massive trailer that has 20 tons of weight in this trailer, okay? So picture this. This little Honda Fit, we'll call it a Honda Fit, is pulling all this weight, and it's driving, right? And it's got these road obstacles it's got to go over. And this guy is like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this car. The tires, they keep popping all the time. And you know what? I'm getting sick and tired of it because I had to buy new tires. So it's the tires. This brand of tires is bullshit. They suck. I gotta get better tires. People are like, yeah, the tires, look, they're popping. I go over this bump, then this one pops, and then that one pops. So I'm gonna get new tires. I'm like, okay, I don't think it's the tires. But why are they popping? All right, get the tires. So he gets tires, new tires. And he's like, see, it's working pretty good. A week later, 3 tires pop. He's like, why are these tires? It's like, keep getting the bad tires. And now, what's going on? My engine's overheating. Well, it's because the tires are so bad that it's working the engine too hard. Could be. And now the ball joints are cracking. And now my steering is getting out of whack. And now my suspension is like breaking and busting. And the car is overheating. I don't understand what's going on. It must be the tires. When actually, they're chasing the symptoms. When what they should do is, first, why don't you try this? Why don't you just empty the trailer, loosen up the trailer, and get those 6 people out of the car? What does that have to do with the tires? The tires are going to pop because the tire quality is shit. See, they're chasing the symptoms. So we'll just try this because I think that's the root that's making the tires pop. So you keep blaming the tires. You keep buying more tires. Okay, so let's take the load, the stress load off the car, and park the trailer on the side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take those 3 people out. We're going to change the tires, like you said. We're changing tires. And we're getting new springs in. We're going to get an oil change. And then we're going to, you 3 people can get back in the car. We're going to leave that weight there. And you're going to drive over this obstacle again and see how it goes. And the car's driving fine. He's like, wow, this works amazing. It must have been because I bought really good tires. Maybe it's because you took that massive load off your car so it's able to actually do what it's supposed to do. And all those symptoms that you were chasing regulated and worked fine. Don't forget, a car, yeah, it doesn't heal. It's very mechanical. We heal. That's where we're different. That's why sometimes my examples are a little shitty. But anyway, so yeah, this story is getting a little longer, but I think it's necessary to tell some of these stories. So I was caught in these different realities. And, you know, I saw one lady on this website. She was in one of these websites where I thought, you know, I was doomed. This is going to be my new reality. I had to heal my gut. Well, I'm never going to heal. And she's like, I'm able to eat all my foods all over again. I lost all the foods because I had 2 safe foods. I had rice and beef, and I could only drink water. And she said, yeah, I have the same thing. I don't have to take any antihistamines. I don't have to take any special probiotics. And I'm eating all the foods. I'm like, well, what did you do? How did you figure this out? She's like, I joined this this neuroplasticity therapy group program. It's called DNRS. I'm like, okay. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this program. Even if I could just eat more foods, then it did its job. I'll be happy with that. And she's like, yeah, it's amazing how it works. I'm like, okay. She couldn't really explain how it works. And I didn't understand it when I started taking it either, really. But throughout the process, I started learning a shitload of things. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take DNRS. And so I took the program. And, it said that, even if you don't believe in this program, do it anyway. Do it for 6 to 12 months. And I was like, kind of like, I don't know if I trust this. I was so in deep, my beliefs that I had were so ingrained in me. They were so deep that nothing was going to tell me any different. So I said, I'm going to do this program just to do it while I still do my research on the side and shit like that. So then I started doing the program. DNRS. It's rewiring. I didn't understand how it worked. I just did it. I didn't believe in it. I did it. I kept doing my research. And I started getting better. One by one, my symptoms, the 80 symptoms, I got a video that talks about all the symptoms I had, started going one by one. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. And one of the pillars, I'll talk about the pillars of this program, says to know that all your symptoms and all the things that you're dealing with that are uncomfortable have to do with a heightened limbic system that is gone haywire. And all you have to do is recalibrate it and rewire it, and all those things will go away. And to take all the information that you have, it didn't say it like this. I'm just kind of saying it myself so that you kind of understand. Is take all the information that you've researched throughout the years and put it on the shelf. So this was me, 10 years of doing research, sometimes 8 hours a day. Research meaning internet, forums, groups, YouTube, reading books, joining these courses that were expensive, spending tons of money on probiotics, spending all kinds of money on things that, looked promising, doctor appointments, my life experiences, all that I had to put on the shelf because, and I noticed this near the beginning, all those years of research came back to haunt me when it came to me recovering. Because when you have something set in your mind and you have these labels, nothing can tell you any different. So what happens is you get in your own way. Your beliefs block recovery. Your beliefs block a new reality that you can have. They stop you. No, this is your reality. You're not going anywhere. Your beliefs pull you back. And there's no way you'll ever move forward. I'm going to turn my car on. Hold on a second. Bop! And I'm going to have to make a video separate on just how you can be... You know what? I'm going to press pause and... Okay, I'm back. How you and what you've consumed in your mental diet of years of research can be the deciding factor if you recover or not, or if you're going to be a person that keeps coping with any of your symptoms for the rest of your life. So that means also it can go two ways. It can go, you go to a doctor, he gives you a label, it's stuck with you. Or you go to a doctor, he tells you you're fine, you don't want to believe him. So it's like, well, when do you start believing in your doctor? And this is how it goes. You believe your doctor when he tells you you're fine. Okay. Or it's supposed to go like this. When your doctor finds out what's wrong with you, don't believe him. And by the way, I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. I'm just a guy in a car with a dog in the back. Who are you going to believe? A guy that recovered from 80 symptoms, or a doctor who went to school and makes $300,000 a year, right? It's not on me, it's on you. But after you've been ruled out and they say you're fine, or they gave you a label and whatever, and you want to see what else is there, then okay, then I'll tell you what worked for me. And I'll tell you what beliefs I had to change. What beliefs I had to change. So for example, I've read books by doctors that talk about the mind-body connection, right? Dr. Sorrow is one of the biggest known. Dr. Sorrow, he talks about how people with chronic back pain, chronic muscle pain, chronic, anything that has to do with pain, he covered. And he was popular in the 80s. And who's that radio host? What's his name? Howard Stern. Apparently Howard Stern had such bad back pain that he would sometimes do his shows with him laying on the floor because he couldn't sit. And then he got Dr. Sorno to help him out. And within a couple of weeks, he was pain-free, right? So what was this doctor's message about the mind-body? What was he saying? He was saying that the brain has the power to give you pain and to keep it chronic. Now, not just pain. We know now it's not just pain. It's symptoms. It's digestive problems. It's, you name it, the brain can produce it. Because, well, why? Why would the brain want to give you symptoms? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Maybe because there's different situations. Maybe because you're at a heightened level, like in my case, you're at a heightened fight or flight level, and it perceives danger. So you get symptoms. That's the one case. The second case is because you have blocked emotions that you're not feeling or you're not acknowledging. And when you have emotions that can't come out, either because you can't deal with them, you try to run away from them, you try to numb them out with alcohol, or you just don't want to deal with these emotions because they scare you, they manifest in physical symptoms. That was his reasoning. My reasoning is because I'm in an elevated fight or flight. I have my buckets overflowing, and I got all kinds of symptoms that are just happening. My body's just gone haywire. I'm having a nervous breakdown. That's my scenario. Other people's scenario could be blocked emotions. Right. So, but what happens is when people talk to a doctor and they go, I have this pain right here or here, right? Or my spine somewhere. And then what they do, well, how about I got the tests to prove it. Okay, so here's the thing that people might not know. When you age a certain age, let's say you have two people that are 40 years old, one person who has pain, one person who doesn't. If you were to take an MRI of those people, both of them, wherever the pain is, let's say in the hand or the arm or the back, you will find that both these people in the 40s, 60s, 80s, whatever age, will have normal abnormalities. So what does that mean? An abnormality is maybe something that looks a little off, blah, blah, blah. Slip this, or, this is looking a little bit off, but it's normal because of your age and the wear and tear of life. We get older, blah, 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 blah. You might have this, right? But does that mean you're structurally damaged? No. Does that mean you can live life normally? Yeah. The person on the right that doesn't have pain has the same thing as the person on the left, right? But they're living a normal life. They're happy. They don't have any pain. But the person on the left has pain. They're exactly the same. Why is that? Well, because it's a mind-body thing. They both have the same thing, but the one has the label. If you're going to look for something, you'll find something. They both have normal abnormalities. But why is it that the one has the pain? Because he's caught in a chronic cycle. There was alarms that were put on by the brain, and he has fear to put into the cycle, and he has labels to put into the cycle, and he has a test, an MRI test to go, well, we did find something. And I think that's the link why you have your pain. When the pain could have just happened because he was in an elevated stress response, or because he had blocked emotions. So he goes to pick up a soccer ball, and boom, the brain will take advantage of a situation, give you that pain, and then when you go to look for your answer, you find the answer with your doctor because you have something that must be it, because you were looking for it. Here it is. And it's a normal abnormality. And now you have the label. So now it's like a stamp, hardwired stamp going, now you're chronic. Boom. And it's also the brain's way of coping with certain situations. I don't know if you ever noticed this, how sometimes when you have a trigger of, let's say, seeing your in-laws, or going on vacation, or you don't want to see somebody, You ever notice that sometimes people, they get sick when they have to go on vacation, or they have to see a certain in-law, or there's this big reunion that they have to go to, and all of a sudden they got back pain, all of a sudden they got become sick, all of a sudden they got a migraine headache. What happens is the brain gives you these symptoms, pain, migraine, feeling sick, whatever symptoms they are, so that you don't have to do certain things, so you avoid certain things, because it's keeping you safe. It's keeping you from avoiding to deal with those emotions, because sometimes the brain also keeps you from dealing with emotions because it doesn't think you can handle it. So there's all kinds of reasons why the brain does certain things, but in general, it's usually you're at a heightened level of stress, trauma, or you've dealt with trauma throughout your life, or you've blocked emotions, or you had a significant event that happened at the same time that you started noticing pain. So if you ever notice, go back to a time where you might, let's say, you have this pain in your elbow, and you've had it for 20 years, and try to think back, was there a significant time in life or an event during that time that happened that kind of correlates with it? 9 times out of 10, you will find that. It's like some person that had a digestive problem that happened 20 years ago. And then think, well, yeah, I lost my job at that time. Yeah, I just broke out with somebody, and yeah, they just put me through torture. Or yeah, I had surgery and it was a lot of stress, and I've had stress throughout my life, and I had trauma as a child. Or it usually adds up, and then boom, there's a symptom that is linked. Here's the pain. Oh yeah, there's the event. No, actually, it's here's the event. Oh, I had symptoms after event, symptoms. So your brain, whatever it goes through mentally, the body follows with symptoms. The mind and body connection, right? So these are all the main things that I've seen why, usually, and this is my opinion, why 98% of people who have symptoms or are chronically ill are because of life events, and it's a mind and body thing. And most of these things we can recover from and turn off these alarms. And I've discovered that now through my journey, through all the symptoms that I had, that, you know what? Put all your beliefs and all your research on the shelf, because it will come to keep you stuck. It'll be your major obstacle. You will be in your own way. Just put it on the shelf and just tell yourself, you know what? I'll come back to that shelf if I have to. You can always come back to it in a year. I'll give myself a year, and I'll try this mind-body bullshit just for a year. And I'll put my mind 100% and believe in it. And I'll take all this other junk out. I'll give it a shot. And then when you give it a shot, you start believing it, right? It starts working. No, and then you give it a shot, and it starts working. You're like, okay, well, that pain is gone. That's awesome. That my anxiety's gone. I still have a pain on my shoulder here. But it's probably an injury, but maybe, you know what? Maybe it isn't an injury. Maybe I'll try to keep it a mind-body thing. You know what? I'm going to train on it. So you keep doing it for another 6 months. And you find out, holy shit, I don't even remember having a pain on here. When did that heal? When did that go away? That's usually what happens when you don't think about it anymore, when you don't put a brace on it, when you don't baby it, when you don't use certain supplements, when you try to lay off it. What you usually have to do is resume all activity as you normally would if you didn't have that problem. Resume it. Ask for more if it becomes something that helps you get into the mindset. Because usually the mindset is the important part. You have to get into a mindset. It's almost like you have to think opposite. So I'm going to resume all activity. What I would say is ease in, because you want to go incrementally, ease in, and get back to life as if you didn't have the problem. Take that brace, hide it so you don't see it. Take whatever pain medication or probiotics and put them in a shelf so you don't see it for now, because you're trying this out. This is what I've read from the books, from doctors, and from all the people that have went through mind-body chronic illnesses and pains and whatever you can imagine. And this worked for me. Resume all activity as it would be normal, and embrace all the pains. Love them, enjoy them, ask for more, because that tells the brain that you are safe. So that's going to be hard because we're so used to our belief systems that we've had ingrained in our brains for so long. So these are all the mind-body stories that I heard about other people that they had with TMS, with Dr. Sornos, and the mind-body groups, and how a lot of it you can rewire and recalibrate from. So I started reading those books, and I was like, this is fascinating. So then I started reading it while I was doing DNRS, while I was rewiring. So with DNRS, I started doing it, and I started recovering. It was great. So I took the Dare Response app, which was brilliant for anxiety, and I put it together. And with my experience and learning the principles, I was able to guide my way to recovery. In the next video, I'll talk about exactly what DNRS does to rewire and what is rewiring. So I'm going to put that video will be about how exactly the steps I took to rewire, what is rewiring, how does it work, and what the 5 pillars were, and my process, and how I used the Dare response to be the missing link, and what I liked about DNRS, what I didn't like about DNRS, and what I didn't like about or liked about Dare. Actually, I liked everything about Dare. So that'll be in my next video, the exact details of how I rewired and the principles. So I'll make note of that. So this video will just be like how it's easy to fall into these rabbit holes. When you follow all these groups, you can be convinced about anything that you have, and you know what? It's your belief that gives you what you have. You create your reality. I'm a person that strongly believes that we create our reality. I'm all into that spiritual shit, I'm all into the manifestation shit, but I myself know 100% that stuff is real because I lived through it. I've been through it and I've learned it. I've seen it happen. How what you believe becomes you. And it could be an amazing thing, and it can be what keeps you sick. And this isn't mumble jumble. This is hardcore shit. This is real. This is reality. I can't believe that I got out of that. I was so brainwashed, like left and left, with all these things. I thought I had SIBO. I thought I had leaky gut. I thought I had, I thought I had to go to my naturopath to get my candida fixed by. I went to my naturopath to get this candida protocol. We did the kill method, and it was all bullshit. It's all bullshit. All it is that your brain is at a heightened state. Your digestion is taking a back seat. It's not working the way it's supposed to. It's in the sympathetic state of the nervous system. And when you do try to eat, it's not going to work properly. So, of course, you're going to get digestive symptoms. And people have been able to come up with all these different labels. There's tons of them. There's like more than 2 handfuls of them. And then they see the symptoms and they go, oh, that's what I have. Oh, shit. And then it becomes a new reality when it's all bullshit. And people, when they hear that, they'll be like, no. Because they've grabbed onto it. That's their identity. And you tell them that identity is not real. Then they go, okay, this guy's an idiot. Obviously, I had the test done. I did the tests. They hold on to that. They don't want to let it go. And then that's what makes it sad. I was one of those people. But then I started getting better. And then that was my proof that, okay, maybe I am in a bullshit reality. I should let them go. Or put them on the shelf. You can always come back to it in a year. Same when it goes with people that, and people aren't aware of this. I wasn't aware of this. It's not the COVID, it's not the food, it's not the Lyme disease, it's not your vaccination that you got. It's not any of those things. What it is, it's a combination of life events that added up, that added to your bucket being full, that kept you in an elevated stress response, kept you in fight or flight. So yeah, it is those things. But if that bucket was empty and your baseline was at 0, you wouldn't even feel those things. They wouldn't even affect you. You wouldn't have the long COVID. You wouldn't have the Lyme disease. You wouldn't have mast cell activation. You wouldn't have all these things. It's what it is your body reacting to the stress load. Yeah, we are unique in ways in how the symptoms manifest. Like 2 people could have mass activation syndrome, but their symptoms could be a little different from each other. You could have 10 people that have Lyme, and they all have different variety of symptoms, but some of them are alike. You can have 10 people who have multiple chemical sensitivity. Didn't I just say that? Fuck. Let's say it again. You can have 10 people who all have multiple chemical sensitivity, and they manifest most of the same symptoms, but some are different. You can have 10 people who have long COVID, right? And they manifest different symptoms, but the core of them are usually the same. And you know what? You might notice that somebody who had mass activation syndrome might have the same core symptoms as somebody with Lyme and COVID. And you will notice that whoever has a maladaptive stress response usually has the same core symptoms as somebody with long COVID, Lyme, mass activation syndrome, all these other chronic illnesses. You'll notice that it's not the labels of those illnesses. It's actually the load on the body. It's that you're in a heightened fight or flight stress response. It's your body's reaction to it. It's not that. The source is in you that's giving you these symptoms. It's not that. It's not the stressor. So those are just the stressors that were activating something within you. Your body was overwhelmed. So at the end of the day, all of these things are the same, simply put. And most of them give the same symptoms. And because the reason why they're the same is because they come from the same sources of loads on the body, right? You have events and things that happen to your body, and it could have been a surgery, it could have been long COVID, it could have been Lyme, it could have been stress in all kinds of different ways that led to the body to be elevated and just it had enough. And the nervous system had a breakdown. And everything went haywire. And then you have these symptoms, a shitload of them. So it's all the same. You have to understand it's not the Lyme. It's not the COVID. It's not, the mass activation syndrome. It's not the surgery. Because if you were recalibrated and at 0 baseline, that your baseline is back to 0, after the surgery you would just heal normally and you'd be fine and you'd be on your way. After the COVID, you'd have been fine, you'd be on your way and you'd be able to eat all the foods that you wanted to eat. You would have no symptoms and you'd be, right? It was just these things were all just stressors on the body, which made your body react because it was up to the brim with stresses throughout our lives. That's all it was. And I know that's like too much of an easy explanation. It's got to be more complicated. This is more involved. It's got more bacteria and your immune system. Yeah, the immune system is linked to your nervous system. Your brain is in charge of all that. So at the end of the day, it's not the COVID. So at the end of the day, it's not long COVID. It's not Lyme disease. It's not diverticulitis. It's not ulcerative colitis. It's not SIBO. It's not mass activation syndrome. It's not POTS. It's not, you name it. It's none of those things. It's your limbic system that's been heightened, and your systems aren't working properly, so you get symptoms, and you get chronic illness, and you get pains, back pains, all kinds of pains. So this goes with illnesses and pains and anxiety, mind and body, the whole thing. And when you, like I said earlier, when you believe in all these belief systems and the research that you've done for 10 years and nothing else, that keeps you stuck there. So that's why I say, if you want to recover, I think this video is very important. Before I even go to what to do and how to rewire the brain, it's very important to put all that massive knowledge that you've got, put it on the shelf. And some of these people went to school for these belief systems. Some of these people do this for a daily living. Doctors, chiropractors, you name it. They do this so imagine you were to tell them this. Number one, they would look at you like you're an idiot. Number two, imagine you told therapists some of these different approaches to anxiety and not to take any medications, because it doesn't make sense to take medications for an emotional state, or that you're in an anxious state because you've been sensitized. All you have to do is desensitize. All you have to do is have a little bit of clarity, and you can recover. So when you talk to people that are in these fields, that have it ingrained in them, that went to school and make money off this, they're going to be really difficult to change. And there are people in these fields that come to DNRS, that come to get rewired. And just imagine how they have to take that information that they are living day to day and put it on the shelf. That shelf is going to break. There's so much shit they got to put on there. And just start all over again, clear the mind, boop, and go, okay, I'm going to try this shit. I'm going to give it 6 months to a year. We'll see how it goes. And then they do it and they start getting better. And they're like, what the And that could almost turn their lives upside down, in a good way and in a bad way. I think it's in a good way, because my life went upside down. Everything I thought I knew was turned on its head. And I'm grateful, because before I was stuck in life, and now I have such an amazing thirst for life. I'm so motivated. I have so many desires and dreams now that I didn't have before. I honestly think that if I didn't fall as hard as I did and think that I wasn't going to make it, it was like my dark night of the soul, that I wouldn't have been able to change anything. The dark night of the soul shakes things up. It changes beliefs. It changes everything. It shatters everything that you've ever believed. And it forces you to start from the bottom. It forces you to start from the bottom, because you have nowhere else to, you have nothing to stand on. So it forces you to rethink everything and to look inside you. When before you had, you went back to your belief systems. When you've fallen really hard and crumbled, it forces you to look within for answers. It forces you to look into your intuition from inside. And that's something we should have been doing from the beginning in all our lives. From the beginning, right? But we haven't for some reason, and we've been off the path. And sometimes you have to fall really, really, really hard to shake things up, so that you start looking within for the answers, and you start building from there, from nothing. You put everything on the shelf, you throw it out, you start from nothing, and you go from there, and then you get your answers. All your answers come, because you're clear. You have no clutter to poison the well. It's that poison that keeps you stuck. And then afterwards, when you have clarity and you start getting better, you can come back to some of that and keep it. And go, you know what, I want to keep some of this stuff on the shelf. I like that. I'm going to go back to the whole fasting thing. I'm going to go back to eating mostly meat and vegetables. I'm going to go back to, maybe I do want to take a probiotic. Maybe I do want to take vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, G, J, So to recap, I took the DNRS program. It's an online program that you take for rewiring. And within 8 months of that program, I added in the Dare Response, which is an app that focuses mostly on OCD type of healing with anxiety, intrusive thoughts, PTSD. And I thought that was very important in my recovery. I find OCD is the missing link to recovery. So I added those in, and that's how I got to where I am now. For when I do my one-on-one coaching or my program, I'm going to add all the good things that I noticed from all these programs and put them together, plus with my own experience and all the things that I noticed that worked for me. I'm going to make my own version of it to help others and to help you. And in my next video, I'll show you in detail what I did with DNRS and with DARE. And I'll be able to show things that I discovered along the way, mind, body, and spiritually. So I hope this helps. This was just mostly a recap to what I did to recover. And also, this talks about how your mindset and your beliefs are the biggest, most important thing in recovery. So I wanted to cover this first before I even go into all the little details of what the program and the rewiring involves. So in the next video, I'll totally talk about all the pillars, all the steps, everything you need to do. So until then, I hope you have a great day and join me on my next video.